as their last-minute substitution. Avez is split Polish and UK, from what I've been told by good Overlord Gunny. So we'll get to see how they work out as really the new kids on the block type of players, and we'll see how they work out in their first matchup against Nice, who similarly I'm not really familiar with.
Well, others, if I'm remembering my information correctly, I believe they are 6th currently in the Polish Masters, so they are a team to be feared, and definitely one that is worth keeping an eye on throughout the rest of the season. Nice, I've seen these players around before in different iterations, in different teams, and they've played well, but they've not really been a standout team that I could see in the past, at least, necessarily going all the way and winning a league. However, there's been a little bit of time since I've last seen them play, and I've not seen them play as this 5, so that does leave the door quite wide open for the amount of improvement they would have been able to make, and where they might be in terms of their skill and capability to win, and they're definitely going to have to show all of their tricks here to start off ACS Season 2 for them.
Yeah, so just a quick look really fast. We're gonna see that Avez is very narrowly predicted to come out on top of Nice Gaming here. It's that just a 6% difference between the two. So probably, I think this is actually the closest we had today. I think, so what was it? It was like TTTK was expected to win like in a 63-37 or something like that. And Prey was expected in like 59 or something. So those are both pretty hefty margins, but yeah, just a 6% difference between these two. So definitely gonna have to see if Avez can stand up to how their fans believe they'll be holding up here, or maybe Nice can really play spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 times I've made predictions, one time I went against Twitter, I went with my gut, and I was wrong. The next time I was like, alright, I'll trust Twitter, I'll see, they were right about the last game, maybe they'll be right about this one. And again, I was wrong. So this time I feel like I'm cursed, so I'm just not gonna predict. So do you have
No vote?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do a vote of no confidence. Cherish, who do you think is gonna be able to pull this one out?
I am not sure on that one because I went with Twitter both times and I'm 50-50 now. So maybe I go against Twitter and I go for Nice and really try and mix it up with this one. But further on with the map bans, once again, first off the rip, Theme Park and Coastline are banned right out. So neither of these teams want to play what is really viewed as the least liked map in Coastline. We essentially had like identical map bans to the last one too, if I remember correctly. But yeah,
well, we're playing the same map, so
yeah, we're back on Oregon.
Yeah. And we saw a very aggressive game of Oregon coming out between TTTK and Homeless. We did say at one point that TTTK were playing defense like they're on attack. They weren't really able to bring it through on their own attacks, at least at the beginning. They did have a decent amount of opportunity to bring it back, and they got it down to a 7-5 right at the end. But I think we might wind up seeing something a little bit different here. Others, they're playing in the Polish Masters. They're got quite a bit of high-level competitive experience and sort of more T3 levels of experience, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we see them going for much more strategy-based, going for that utility burn meta, and seeing others starting out on defense is really going to set the tempo, I feel, for how this whole match is going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, so we ended up seeing that it did matter. Defense did matter a bit in our last matchup, considering that Homeless was able to take 3-3 on attack and 4-2 on defense. So yeah, defense did matter a good bit. So Aves starting on D is really nice feeling for sure for them. As again, Thermite Thatcher is taken out just the same as last time. Mira and I wonder if we'll see Echo or if we'll see Maestro here. We did see Maestro on the last map. We will have to see. I am going to assume it's the Echo.
I mean,
And it's
Maestro.
Nope. Same bands.
But same bands doesn't necessarily mean same playstyles. And I'm quite interested to see how the side of others do, especially because they have Herdes, who some of you may know as the coach of the Last Resort. We've been having quite a nice year, able to collect a couple of victories, win a couple tournaments, and perform very well in others. So, seeing him actually being able to play, he was a player for a while, then moved on to a coaching role. So seeing him playing in this environment with high-level players, I want to see some of that coach's mind coming through. We are seeing him start off on the smoke, so a bit of an anchor player to be able to coordinate things. And he's really going to be one that I'm keeping my eye on. And obviously, we won't be able to hear his comms, so we won't know quite how much impact he's having on the rounds necessarily. But I still think his performance is going to really indicate how well the rest of the team is.
So, our first site is going to be moving over down to the laundry supply, and I will say I was incorrect. It is not the same bands. It is a Thatcher instead of a Capital this time through, so maybe we'll see that from Nice, but again, we did hit on it in our last matchup. The prevalence of Wamai has, and not even just prevalence isn't even really the right word, just the overwhelming strength and presence of Wamai has really deterred a lot of Capital play, even when he's left up. So, with that being said, we'll have to see if he does make a niche appearance here, but we'll be seeing very standard lineups from both sides so far, as it's going to be a lot of upstairs play already from Avez, specifically here with Yango on the mute. He will be under the name Big Smoke for now, but when we say Yango, we mean him as Chickley is going to pick up the first frag onto Papiolti. Wow, these are some fun names to pronounce.
I mean, it's half the battle when you're a caster, just trying to pick out what people want their names to be pronounced as. But Papiolti being the first death, it's the Jaeger off the board. It's a good gun gone and a good gunner out of there, but it's not exactly the most critical operator to have lost early on. And oh no, Yango, that was almost so close. Just switching weapons at precisely the wrong moment, almost lost him his life, but Big Smoke will be able to remain down here in the freeze of the shotgun, getting rid of a drone, and he still has a C4 in his pocket if anyone elects to push him.
Yeah, he is able to make it out at the least, which is definitely good for him. So we'll get to see how he's going to survive this, really, the rest of this round, as it's going to be a very slow push into the freezer, started by Rexon here on Ash, running through slowly and slowly. Going to be just making his way on in and getting a lot of info for the side of Nice. Drax is going to find the next frag onto Curve. As pushing forward, Herds is going to fall as well. Drax is all the way in sight. At least Yango is going to find one, and another onto Drax is confirmed, but it's right back from Tundra onto YZN. It's just Yango on his own, not enough ammo in the SMG. Fantasy is going to finish that one off, and Nice pull off a solid first round here on the attack on the laundry supply, and they didn't really look like they missed a beat there.
Yeah, absolutely not. And going for that laundry take and then actually, taking laundry instead of going through blue. We spoke about it briefly in the last game, and it didn't work out when I believe it was TTK tried to pull it off, Homeless getting a clutch right at the end of the round. But that was a much better execute, I feel, coming through from Nice. They got all the control they wanted. They got to set up on all the angles available to them, and then just walks in and exploded onto the site itself. We are going to see Aves try that site yet again. I'm going to be interested to see if Nice switch up their attack, thinking that Aves will expect us to come from this place, and then Aves sort of overplay into a laundry freezer hold, or if Nice go, we're just going to do the same again. It worked for us so well last time. See if we can pull it off twice in a row.
And that's something too. I mean, Nice completely avoided what is the meta. I mean, we saw it round after round after round. I think we saw 4 or 5 laundry defenses last time through. Actually, we saw 6. Last map, we saw 2 from... Let me just make sure I'm not, like, speaking freely there. No, we saw 7.
7.
Out of 12 defenses, 7 were on laundry supply.
I mean,
yeah.
Homeless did play downstairs 4 times.
That is true.
Yeah, in a row. 3 in a row at least. And
yeah. The first round and then the 3 in a row at the end. But every single one of them, the teams focused that blue bunker. And Nice didn't even touch it. They didn't even look at it this time through. They fully focused elsewhere, mostly in this freezer area, and I mean, that's removing a whole lot of utility. You can't replace really those Jaeger ADSs reliably. You can't replace those Wamai discs reliably, and those shields and that setup once it's set down. So we'll see if Nice's setup and attack here is going to work out this time, or if Yango is going to put another dent in their plans.
And this is going to be Yengo, the first line of defense, holding onto the server room, and he's just going to get taken down immediately. Herdes does get one onto Tundra from behind. Rexon also losing a lot of HP from Herdes. But it will be server control or security control even given over to the side of Nice with the hatch pre-open for them, so not even going to need to use Hibana pellets on that, which is especially good as Hibana is dead. Sakali gets a kill onto YZN straight after, so my gone, and yet again, laundry control really early on. The Fragnate going to come on through, does get caught by the my disc that had been placed, so Curve is going to be alive for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, Rexon is also on just a sliver of health, but this attack, again, like I mentioned, it's completely ignoring the Wamai. Granted, he's dead, but, yeah, it is looking rough. A rush is going to come in, as Shikali is going to fall, as Curve finds 2, but on the reload, he's not able to find anything. Fantasy is all that remains, as Rexon has been down. Herdes is also all that remains, as he's on 25 health. There's 45 seconds remaining. So much time for Fantasy to make this work, as it's just him against Herdes. They're both on similar health. Fantasy is going to move over to plant on default. Herdes is not going to start to gas him. He's going to swing out, and no, he's going to actually lose it, in fact, to Fantasy, who picks that one up. Nice for 2-0 on the attack. They're looking pretty good so far on Oregon, all things considered, even if that round was a lot closer there for Aves than round 1.
Yeah, and Fantasy coming in big at the end there, landing 2 very nice kills to secure the round, but it was a little bit of a shaky start for them, just going for that rush onto Curve, playing the Aid tucked inside the laundry corner. That was a very dangerous play. Curve could have quite easily taken down all 3 players that pushed him if he'd been a little bit more accurate. So the risk for Nice paying off that time, and we're going to see how Aves are going to be able to deal with the Kid Storm Bomb site, electing not to go back down to laundry. Not quite as committed as Homeless are, attempting 3 in a row. They are going to switch it up and to get themselves on the board here relatively early on in the game.
So, moving on over, we're not going to see laundry supply 3 times in a row. That's definitely faring well for Aves, but Still, they're keeping mostly the same lineup, just minus the Kaid for a Mozzie. And that does point out to my point earlier. I mean, when Maverick is up, there's like really no point to Bandit or Kaid. It's really just you end up like trying to think of how I want to phrase it. Like it's just incremental damage at best that you end up having those operators for, and maybe a nitro. So,
well,
unless you're really using them for the guns at that point, it's really weird to be playing them with a Maverick up. So, we're going to be seeing more roam focus from Avez with this Mozzie. A lot of info denial with that Mozzie. And, again, that was something I was pointing out that really helps these defenses start up because Nice is moving a lot slower than they were. They're barely inside of the building this time through compared to last round.
Well, being a little bit more cautious, but to sort of counter your point about the Maverick, if you don't have something on those walls, they could just use a Hibana, which is a much quicker and more effective way at opening up a hole. See, it's taken them well over a minute to get the wall open, and then they've had to use an Ash charge. That's more and more utility being taken away by the attackers, and all you had to do was put down a single bandit wire. So it does change it up quite a bit as to how much time and how much utility the attackers need to invest, but I can see where you're coming from in the fact that it doesn't really make a difference. The wall's going to get opened up anyway, as Fantasy is going to open up the round, getting the kill onto Herdes, but is being traded out and then knifed by Curve. So we're still in a 4 versus 4. 3 versus 4 as Rexon gets the kill onto YZN.
Oh, what is that ungodly thing? He's got the suppressor, the giant, like, sausage cone thing on top of the SMG-11. As it's Drax hunting down Curve here. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie as the other 3-on-2 going on upstairs. And somehow he's able to control the suppressor on that. Drax is going to find the head of Curve and finish that one off as Peppy Ulti is going to get in a gunfight. He's going to down Rexon, but again, the SMG-11 suppressed, doing its work. Tundra is going to finish off Peppy Ulti after he found his down frag on Rexon. And this is kind of falling apart for Avez. This is looking all in favor of Nice. They're looking so clean, so crisp right now on the attack here on Oregon, as they've secured a very solid half for themselves, and we still have 3 rounds to go.
Yeah, this is... I mean, getting more than 2 rounds attacking on Oregon is generally considered a good half, so to get the clean 3-0 to begin, and there's still, well, 3 more rounds left in the half. Tundra just tempting us with the fuse is gonna play it sensible and go on to the Hibana, but part of me wishes that he did bring it out. You know, just... It's just one of those operators you never really see, and there's good reason why you never see Fuse, but then at the same time, whenever he is brought, he provides something interesting, something different that you're not used to seeing in a competitive play.
Yeah, I think, I mean, he did get a buff in the last patch set. He did get his 4th cluster charge. Yeah, that's what they're called. He got his 4th cluster charge, but at the end of the day, like, that's not really the problem with Fuse. The problem is that he's very slow, he's very clunky, his gadget is exceptionally loud. It's not the concept of, like, oh, he has too little or this and that. It's, he's loud, he's very exposed when putting it down, and in the rare instances that we've seen him be attempted in Pro League, that's or in high levels of play, that's what happens. Unless it's in the middle of chaos that he's throwing down those charges and causing more chaos, if he's like he just can't be the one to start off things. So
I do remember some
Fuse though, which is sad. That's the one thing I don't like about this meta is it forces you to have a set roster lineup, really, and very rarely will it be any different than the one that Nice is running. I mean, minus maybe a Nomad in the place of the Maverick, because the Maverick's banned usually. Like, that's really just the lineup differences that you get.
Yeah. I do remember back in the day, though, you know, year 2, year 3, we would occasionally see some LATAM teams bringing the views when attacking Clubhouse downstairs. So that would always be an interesting adjustment, especially when you saw them at majors and such. We are going to see, in this round at least, well, Avez be a bit more aware and a bit more cautious about a push coming in from Freezer. We've heard Disc, ADS is actually a lot, and Herdes actually has been downed, I think, by the spray from Rexon. We are eventually going to be getting this Freezer hatch open as the smokers attempt to crawl away for something resembling safety to get picked by his team. But Drax at the bottom of the laundry stairs could be in a very good position to get a couple of kills right here. Others desperately trying to hold onto whatever ground they have left as the smoke menace is starting to be used, but there's still more than a minute to go.
Yeah, Herdes, though, that signals rather that Herdes has been revived and picked up, so he's there to be a body, to provide his assistance. Not for much longer, though. At least Papiolti is going to find one, but Rexon right back as YZN finds Shigley as, yeah, that's how I pronounce that. Well, I think it's 3-on-3 after that frag has been found, as Rexon is holding his own, finding his double kill in the freezer, but the rest of Nice haven't really found an ingress forward, and YZN is holding firm close here. Curve is going to fall to the SMG-11 suppressed, I keep mentioning because it is horrifying, from Drax, and at least, oh, I can't remember his name. He's going to find 2 on the mute. It's just down to Rexon, and Avez know exactly where he is, holding in his freezer. Gonna find one, but not the other, and Avez is gonna clean up their first round off the double kill from YCN, and a double from, oh, I can't remember his name all of a sudden, Yango.
Yango, yeah.
Again, I'm always annoyed when players don't use, like, the name they want to go by as their name.
I still have to admit, when people put the clan tag in, back when it was the old settings, so you could only see the first 3 characters of the name along the top of the screen when they clan tag.
Oh, and they'd put the clan tag as the first one.
Yeah, that was.
So it'd be like Avez dash whatever, and everyone would just show up as AVE. Oh,
yes,
that's awesome.
That was painful. But at least with our nice new UI, all the adjustments and the teams generally going, oh hey, that was kind of a bad idea. We should do it this way. Makes things a little bit easier, and then we've just got to deal with like the names themselves. Tundra, though, dealing with an internal struggle as he's deciding whether he wants to be on Hibana or IQ for this round, and he's going to settle on German operator as the Aves have elected to go back to the top floor, where we have seen the Blues once already, and they are desperately in need of a winning streak now.
Yeah, Aves really has to go perfectly these last 3 rounds, and that's really risky considering how well Nice looked attacking this upstairs. It was 1 round, but still, that is 1 more round than yeah. It shows how well Nice looked attacking here, and that is 1 more round than Aves got. So we're gonna see an echo for the first time come out for Aves, coming out from Herds. We'll get to see how that one plays out for them, as it's going to be essentially aggressive play coming out from Curve. Nope, he's just having some issues with himself, but we're all good now, as that camera is going to get whatever info they can glean off it, and yeah, I mean, it's going to be, it should be pretty simple. That there's no reason, by the way, that camera should exist right now, considering that Tundra spawned in front of it as IQ.
I mean, sometimes you gotta know that you need to look for something.
Oh, he just saw it.
I don't think he did. He's not
like
turning around.
Yeah. It came up for like that half second, but I don't think he saw it.
Bomb has been located.
Oh.
Right. He has been able to spot it out, and it's taken him a minute to get rid of that first camera, but the rest of his team over in Big Tower, I'm sure, have been more productive in being able to get stuff done, as the G8 is going to ring out and make sure everyone's aware of his position. So they at least have to keep some part of their minds focused on what this IQ is going to do next, because that G8 is a scary gun to go up against.
They've got both, really. They've got the R4C and the G8 running, alongside the M4, which isn't, like, notorious like the others, but still, it is equally a scary gun in its own right. It's very high fire rate and very fast, and, well, from below comes death. Yango's gonna fall to a nice nade from Drax, and that is probably the second best find you could find here for the side of Nice, as the smoke will fall. Probably the best, I'd say, is that Echo. But it's the Jaeger to find the second frag of this round. He's gonna fall thanks to Papiolti, as he's getting aggressive further on this big window, trying to find a second here, as it is just gunfire and gunfire left and right, and Nitro's gonna miss out back in this attic onto Rexon, as I mean, Nice is slowly gaining ground, but at the same time, they've got not much time left.
Yeah, they were able to get quite a lot of space and able to spread themselves out and pick up all the angles they wanted, but they didn't capitalize on it quickly, which means that Avez are having a really good opportunity to claw themselves back into the round. It's going to be Papiolti getting 3, YZN had gotten 1. We do see Fantasy get the kill onto Hurdy, so that is that Echo down, but it's still a 3 versus 1. Fantasy's on about 5 points of health, and he's got to try and find all these players. It's going to be the Valkyrie peeking him, though. Curve to secure the round for Aves, and that's their second on the board. The potential in this next round to tie it up before the half.
So, with that, indeed, it's still, you have to go to an offsite here for Aves, and that could be very risky for them because it's so up in the air. There's a very solid reason it's your offsite. This is an interesting swap up that tells me something that Shikali, or rather Tundra, is going to want to look for a swap. And it is indeed the swap from the Maverick to the Capitao, because Shikali was playing the Maverick the last 5 rounds, and then all of a sudden swaps over to the Hibana. So they definitely planned to swap that one around. But that being said, we're going to see our first Capitao of the day. We did talk about it a little bit last round, or last map, alongside our first Oyo, who has seen a significant drop in play since his nerf of removing a 3rd shield, but in the end of things, he's very much in a fine spot. It's very niche, and it's for this. It's for when you want extra shields to lock down positions, but don't want to take, you know, Wamai plus something like Alibi. So instead you pick the Goyo, and then you can kind of flex that extra operator, this time being the Doc on the curve.
However, as you mentioned, Nice are bringing out the Capitao, and this is, I believe, the first round Aves haven't brought a Wamai. So that Capitao just went from being potentially very effective to definitely gonna have a huge impact on this round if they have a plan and a strategy in mind for how they want to use those firebolts. And by the way that Nice have played so far, I'm gonna imagine that's the case, and it's gonna be difficult for others to successfully hold onto this site. We do see Rexon as well getting that opening kill. Kali close behind him. That's Curve, and Hurdy's down. Getting promoted to Doc isn't gonna help you out there, Curve. That's now a 5 versus 3 in favor of Nice.
The Doc promotion taken away right away from Curve. Sad times for our little hard support friend. Papiolti's gonna find the head of Tundra here, actually, taking down the Capitao, as he's gonna get into another gunfight as well. not really find much purchase. The rest of Nice, though, is slowly encroaching on the site, and that's the big thing. This site is so easily accessed by the attack. Drax is going to find the head of Papiolti with that L85 A5, as Shigley is going to be tapped away by YZN from up above through the hatch on the longest range. That Vector doing what little it can from said range, but it does enough. That's the point. Fantasy's going to get the bomb down because YZN has abandoned his post, and it's now just up to him on the Goyo. All alone upstairs as Nice is looking very solidly for their 4th round. Nitro's going to come out, find no purchase, and YZN's swinging and swinging where he can, but none of his bullets are landing. Rexon's still only at half from earlier, and it's going to be Fantasy to find the frag, end out the half 4-2 in favor of the attack on Oregon, in fact. So that's a very interesting outcome, all things considered here.
Yeah, and I mean, Goyo just in a horrible position to try and win out there. Using the Vector at that kind of range is probably one of the worst options. I think the only thing worse than that would be given like the SMG-12 and trying to spray down at that range. It is not really going to work out well for you there. And I'm also very upset that the fact that we talked about Capital and Wamai for a fair bit at the start of that round, and then Tundra just peeks on and gets destroyed by Papiolti before he fires off one smoke bolt and that's it. So just Caster's curse, man. It wears you down after a while. You're just so excited to see something, so you talk about it, and then they're the opening death.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're still not going to see Capital this time, because Curve has swapped it for a Twitch. Very interesting, to say the least, I think.
I can kind of see where you're coming from, and with that Twitch pick, you can see there's everyone on the side of Nice, aside from Sakali, Hands Gadgets that can be destroyed by a Twitch drone. So if you're good with the F2, or actually even the 417, if you want to bring out the DMR, and you can get your Twitch drone to these locations to be able to use it effectively, then yeah. I mean, no one plays Twitch anymore, man.
I was also really thinking, wow, this is interesting. But I was also really thinking, I'll have to hit on that point in a second, because Zero being introduced actually on the test server, it's really like there's no purpose for Twitch. Like, I wonder what Ubisoft really wants to do with her and how they're going to do with her, because Zero's gadget feels like a better Twitch, even if it's less zaps. It feels like a better Twitch drone. It's a lot safer and quieter than a Twitch drone. And, well, not a lot, but, I mean, it's just, you also don't have the crazy recoil of the F2. Another gun without crazy recoil. That's how I'll transition this one. Another gun without crazy recoil is actually the AUG A2, wielded by the Wamai, who has found Herds, who has not been having a great game today. He's a little quiet, and he is subbing in, but yeah, he ended up falling first, so we'll now see how Avez wants to work this attack with a 4v5, and definitely already not looking as solid as Nice as. Oh, there goes Papiolti's head, too. Things are just worse and worse for Avez as time goes on.
Yeah, Tundra doing work with that AUG. He's had a relatively quiet game. He's only sitting at 4-4, so he's not needed to show up too much, as he's gotten 2 of those kills in this round, but he's definitely going to be the linchpin of the moment as he's attempting to hold onto the Storm's room area by playing behind the metal frame of the bed, carefully taking his peeks between the bomb and the window, as Rexon also gets a kill onto, I'm just going to call him Big Smoke. But oh no, from behind, Fantasy takes down YZN, and now Curve, that Twitch that we were talking about, is in a 1 versus 5. The F2 has a lot of recoil, but let's see if he can make it work. He does a lot of damage onto Drax and then gets shot in the back immediately. So it doesn't matter really what gun you're bringing to that fight, you're always going to lose. It's nice gaming, collect their first round on defense.
Yep. So, a site that fell twice. I don't sound right. Once? It was, I think, I definitely lost once. I think it was won once?
They lost it once.
Yeah, so it was 1-1 for the side of Avez. So, initially goes very strongly to the side of Nice, as they are looking pretty clean. It is one round in, but yeah, they're looking very nice so far. And again, Curve pulling out the Twitch for a second round here. I mean, that drone didn't really do anything. It drove into the site, zapped the smoke for 1 health, and then was promptly destroyed. And then kind of didn't really do anything with the other drone because he was very quickly left in a 1v5 where you can't really drone for yourself. So hopefully Curve this time through has better hope for his drone and his round plane, really. But I mean, it's gonna work out, I think, if he can get it in there into blue bunker. There being blue bunker. If he can get it in there, those Wamai and Jaeger ADSs are gonna be quite easy pickings, I think, for the Twitch drone, because you can't safely overpeak onto that to destroy that drone without really risking your life.
I just imagine in the last round, though, when Curve zapped the smoke, he just goes smoke 99.
Smoke 99.
99 health on smoke, he's low. Someone take the fight.
He's one. He's one.
No, he's -1. That's why.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, that's what I meant. No, when I said he's one, I meant he's -1.
Alright. Avez, you were saying how Curve's drone would be so well placed inside of blue, and so they have elected to go for a laundry take.
Of course.
Of course, why else? What else would they go for? Though it is quite interesting, though, that we are seeing both of these teams not go for a laundry take. We did see, I think... No, I don't think Nice did it once on their attack, so it's a very interesting adjustment and a very different way to play than what we saw in our last match, as we are seeing Sakali and the Clash attempting to hold onto this hallway. And Freezer itself, Big Smoke avoiding the shotgun blast for the time being, but the shots coming through are just going to slow everything down. The flashbangs being burned but aren't leading to any kills for the time being. There's just a lot of utility getting wasted for the moment.
Yeah, Shipley did get tagged down to about 3/4 thanks to a nice nade, and going to be finished off by YZN because he swung out behind the Clash a bit too aggressively. Maverick is burning away a hole into this hatch to open it on up. That's Big Smoke working that one. So we've kind of elected to no longer call him by name. Fantasy's going to refrag, at least, albeit late, but it is done. Onto Curve, the Twitch will fall. As Drax is very aggressive on Clash, holding up here on that box. He's reverted to shield mode, really, as he's going to fight YZN. Give a lot of info to his team. Rest of Nice is not being punished yet by this swinging Hibana. But it's Papiolti and Rexon to find one each. 3-on-3 now, as Rexon was refragged, but Herdes died. Hundra's going to find YZN too. That's what remained of Hibana. And Drax with a nice 360 finishes off Big Smoke. It's just Papiolti on his own, as Nice is about to tie up, or rather, hit tie point at least, and secure themselves the tie, because 15 seconds remain. Papiolti does have defuse, and he's still got 3 bodies to work through. Clash staring him down. Yeah, this one's over. Not even going to find the counter frag onto Tundra, who gets downed at least by the Ash. A nice third-person view of the action, though, thanks to the Clash, gives us the round-ending kill cam. And it's 6-2 Nice Gaming, looking very dominant here over Avez.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they kind of knew that I was expecting bigger things from Aves, that, you know, having the reputation of being in the Polish Masters, yes, they may not be playing with their full five. I kind of, you know, internally had sided with them to win this game, and I think, I'm sorry to the guys over on Aves, I think I may have somehow managed to cast a curse you without saying a word about it. So, as we just look at this kill distribution, though, Rexon and Fantasy both on 9, Drax and Tundra on 7, and Sakali all the way down the bottom on 3. But that is 4 players fragging out hard, whereas the highest killed player on the side of Aves is Papiolti, and he's got 7. So it's definitely just been a frag fest, at least in favor of the side of Nice.
So we're gonna see the move over again to this meeting and kitchen site, which is like we've been saying, not really the commonplace site. It is pretty regionally split, rather. So there is no real commonplace third site, just because it depends on where you are. But something that is commonplace is running that Wamai down below in the bathroom, as well as a good bit of upstairs setup from the defense, prepping that up a bit. As very quickly, Aves is going to be moving to the building, and they've actually picked up a Kali, as Drax just wants to play suppressors.
I mean, we saw Citizen at the major run Orc suppressors the entire time, and he seemed to have a pretty good show of things, so...
I saw something saying that, like, the AUG doesn't lose damage when suppressed, or something like that. I'm not fully sure, but it's very interesting. I want to look more into it, definitely.
Absolutely, but as we go back to talking about this Kali herd, he's not really been hitting all of his shots, so I guess if you just make sure that you only need to hit one and to get it down, then that's at least something you can work with. But I would have thought if you're going to bring the Kali, you would try and optimize those long-range angles, and so go for a dining plant. We are going to see them, at least for the first part of this round, try and take this upstairs control. They will have to get through Tundra and I believe Rexon, who are upstairs holding on to this bed. And we are going to see Tundra get boosted up onto the desk. He's going to land a little bit of shots onto Yango, but not enough to take him down. And now he is most definitely trapped in his position in his hatch, the only real way of escape.
So, slowly and slowly comes in the attack from Aves. A nice nade, almost finds Tundra, but it's enough to push him out of position. Opener finally goes to Aves after what seems like the entire game going the way of Nice. Another refrag at least. Almost comes on to Big Smoke, who's been down. Shigley is gonna fall as everyone is throwing their bodies here into Aves. It's just Drax and Fantasy all alone against 5 now. Granted, they do have about 50 seconds to burn away, but, I mean, that's 50 seconds in a 2v4. Drax has rotated up and finished off what remained of the Mavericks, so there's that at the least. His Fantasy has found one onto YZN. He's looking for more, can't find it just yet. As Curve finds the head of Fantasy, rather, Epiolti finds the head of Drax, and Curve finishes off Fantasy. Aves is able to stop the streak from Nice, but now Nice gets, even if they lose this site, they get their 2 core sites back.
And well, that is the issue really for Aves. That's the nut they've got to crack. They've got to try and find a way to beat Nice on these sites where they look so comfortable and confident. And Aves, they've just really, really struggled here on their attacks. They had a rough time of it on the defense, but the attack is looking much, much worse for them, at least for the time being. And I don't really know how to fix it for them. I can't think of anything really that I would adjust in how they're playing. They're just not hitting their shots and getting caught out in trades. They're always seeming to be on the losing end of a trade battle.
Yeah. I mean, it's it does seem that we've really been seeing it today. That for every frag that Avez gets, Nice gets one right back, especially on this defense. They're always right there, right back to Avez, and we're just not seeing that same thing. You know, we're not seeing that proactive play from Avez, and they're not really able to extend their leads and win their gunfights in these leads, unlike last round. Last round was really the first round that we saw that happening, so maybe this time through we'll get to see Kids Dorms fare a bit better for the side of Avez as they try and make it work for what they can. But it's definitely going to be a rough time for themselves, as it's gonna be a little roam game coming out from the side of Nice. It's actually just Rexon being very aggressive downstairs. Herdes knows he's here, especially after the phone call, but to be fair, Herdes definitely just heard him smashing the window in front of him. But still, Rexon's gonna be playing aggressively, and he's gonna jump out and die to the CZ.
I mean, taking those fights is always difficult, because you've got to jump out and then immediately look up, and the player can move quite quickly on those rappels, so... I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it was the play for Rexon to go for that jump out, but I commend the effort, to say the least. He's using his second phone call already. There's still more than a minute 30 to go, so they're not going to try and use it for that final execute. They are instead just trying to use it to maybe get this one player out of Armory. Which I don't think is necessarily the best use of it. Flashbang starting to come on through as Fantasy is trapped in the corner. He goes for the jump out. He actually lands the headshot onto Herdes. Happy Ulti gets the trade immediately after, but there's a Kebby down. That smoke's gone, and a little bit of time needs to be wasted to collect the diffuser. YZN gets the kill onto Sakali, so that's the defensive smokes out of the picture. And it's a 2 versus 4 now, with Nice on the receiving end of the hurt. Drax does use that duffel bag suppressor SMG-11 to trade at least one kill out, so we are in a 2 versus 3. Papiotti's on lower health. So there's not quite counting Nice out of this round just yet. There is still the potential for them to bring it back, especially as Drax gets another kill. He's actually elected to not bring the suppressor this time, and is well, it's working out for him just as well as this big smoke. Happy Ulti trying to push on in. 30 seconds left on the clock as Drax gets his 3rd kill. Big smoke does put him down, but it's going to be the kill coming in from behind. The last player inside of Kids of Tundra is going to be able to collect that one and collect this victory in week number 1 for Nice Gaming.
Yeah, a really nice job there from Nice, in fact, to be able to clutch it up. I believe 3v5 in total, 2-on-4 in the end. It's insane that Fantasy was able to get that jump out when he did, considering that the Ash was in the same room as him. But Fantasy and Drax both end with 11 frags. Rexon on 9. Not to put him down. There was a player on the side of Avez with a nice 10. I've already forgotten the name, and I feel bad.
I believe it was Papiolti. He was at the top of the scoreboard, so...
but yeah, I mean... Nice ended up winning out that one pretty handily, too. That's the thing. I mean, the teams that kept getting expected to win were beaten pretty solidly today.
Yeah, and I think, like, the real thing that we should take away from that is I should just never make a prediction again in my life, because they were all just so wrong. I was surprised in every single game that we saw today. Ray really shocked me. You know, we had no experience of them. We know that Anibi, ex-Envic, they have struggled a bit in the past, but they've had a bit of time to adjust. They made some roster moves, but Ray just came out and showed up and destroyed. Then again, as we looked over at the Homeless TTTK game, Homeless, I didn't have them pegged, Twitter didn't have them pegged to win it, and then, I mean, they In my mind, they should have won it a bit more comfortably, but they decided to faff about going to laundry 3 times in a row. And then, yeah, as we see, Nice Gaming just completely destroying Aves on Oregon from start to finish. It's really been an exciting day, and I'm really excited to see how the rest of the season's going to shape out, especially for these teams.
Yeah, without a doubt. We definitely did see, if we're going to base it off of just results from right today, right now, we did see what could be some of the middle top teams for sure in Nice as well as Prey. Granted, like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, sadly because of Moss issues, Prey had to forfeit. So their 7-1 ended up being an 0-7, which is a massive shame. But yeah, I mean, they still looked really solid. They didn't look a single flaw. I mean, there was like maybe a handful of problems against their Onibi game. You know, the side of Nice Gaming looked very solid as well, taking down Prey. So, or not Prey, sorry, Aves. So we'll definitely have to look at these teams going forward. But for tomorrow, I'm not really sure who plays.
We don't have the team list or the game list up in front of us right now. It might be coming up on your screen. Yeah, there it is. And
nice.
It's going to be Turtle going up against Brown, The Last Resort against For the Win, and UMX against 4 Elements. And that's going to be kicking off tomorrow at 5:30 CEST. It's going to be casted by Joe the Music Man and Tudor. So going to be some exciting games coming up for you tomorrow, and we've got 11 more weeks of this, 2 play days a week, and it's going to be an exciting season. You know, we've said that Prey and Aves have played well, but, you know, it's a long season, a lot of things can happen, and these teams could wind up falling in almost anywhere in the scoreboard at the moment, and I just can't place it, and I'm so excited to see how the rest of the season is going to pan out.
I am indeed, but with that being said, I